Hi, Dorothea Hendricks here, your trainer in communication and presentation skills. The room was packed. It was absolutely packed. And as the speaker was walking to the front of the room and just about ready to give her presentation, a young woman walks in and sits down right beside me. I can't remember the young woman's name, but I can remember her story. So I'd like to call her Sally. I like the name Sally, so I'll say Sally sat down beside me. Now, it didn't take Sally long before she was sharing all her troubles and woes at work and how she was ready to quit her job. Sally told me that when she was hired, she'd been hired by this young company for a position that she really, really wanted. But on that first day, when she walked into the office and wanted to start work, her manager called her aside and said, Sally, we've got a bit of a challenge in one of the other departments. The manager quit last night, and we need someone to be in charge of that department. Would you mind? And that would just be temporary, absolutely temporary. Would you mind running that department? We'll put out a call, and as soon as we find somebody, they'll come and take it over, and you can then take on the position for which you were hired. And just know all of this is temporary. So Sally thought about it and she thought, well, what can I say? So she agreed. And knowing that this was going to be temporary, Sally moves into that department, and it takes her not very long before she realizes, whoa, this department is a mess. It's in chaos. And so Sally now starts coming in. She starts coming in really early, and she ends up leaving really late. And she also ends up missing her lunches, skipping a lot of lunches. 1 month turns into 2 months turn into 3. And to top it off, now her boss is giving her extra work. Whoa, Sally is beside herself and she's just in tears. When Sally takes a few minutes to catch her breath, I turn to her and I said, Sally, does your boss know the pressure that you're under? Well, Sally looks at me in total amazement and she says, well, of course. He sees me when he comes into the office. I'm already there working. Then he leaves to go home and I'm still there. Of course, he sees me. He knows. And I said, well, Sally, just because he sees you, uh, have you sat down with him? Have you had a meeting with him? Have you, given him details of your work, the challenges that you're facing, where you could use some support? Have you done any of that? And she turned and quite strongly said to me, he's my boss. He sees me at work. He's looking at me all the time. He sees me. He knows what I'm doing. And at that point, she changed the subject. Well, if Sally had been interested, I would have shared with her 5 pieces of advice that a manager shared with me years ago. Here are the 5 pieces of advice. Number 1, make sure that you and your manager are singing from the same song sheet. That means the job description your manager has and the job description you have, make sure that they're the same job description. Number 2, keep track of your accomplishments. Number 3, in keeping with number 2, not only keep track of your accomplishments, make sure that you keep a record and let your manager know how your work, your accomplishments are impacting your department, how they're impacting the well-being of the organization, as well as the well-being of your boss. And number 4, this is where Sally really fell down, and a lot of us fall down because we make assumptions about people and assumptions about things. Never, ever make assumptions. Don't assume because somebody's looking at you or because somebody's watching you that they know what you're thinking and that they know all about your workload. And number 5, if you're not happy, voice your concerns. Speak up for yourself. Let people know what it is that you're looking for. Let them know what you need. Because if you don't speak up for yourself, who will? Until next time, this is Dorothea Hendricks wishing you mountains of success.